radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Monday, July 5th, 2021. 187 days into the new year, only 178 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere, a total undisclosed location, but it is beautiful. That's right. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? I hope everybody had a great, fun, and safe 4th of July weekend. Today is July 5th. But I will be hanging out on social media, and I'm going to be posting what I can. I'm going to sneak some pics in. We got a great cast and a great collection of people that are getting together. And so, I got to get clearance, from the film company. But, hopefully I'll be able to sneak some stuff out there. I think a little bit of promotion would help, right? But I will be back a week from today, next Monday, for a fresh, brand new week of Fade to Black. So don't worry about that. And it's going to be great. Tonight on the show, been waiting for this, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief joins us for the first time. Cristina is going to get the first-time guest disclaimer. She will be with us at the bottom of the hour. I'm really looking forward to this. And there you go. Now, I just want to remind everybody, don't dial in tomorrow night. KGRA is going to be playing replays, but everything else, the bunker itself is shut down. It's shut down. I'm turning off the lights, and I'll be back on Saturday, I think Friday or Saturday, and getting ready for next week. But I'll see everybody on Monday. Just want to remind everybody, that's what's going on. I don't want anybody to be surprised. I posted everything up on social media. I've let it be very clear that I'm going to be gone all week. It's going to be fun though, and there's something about, and this is the way that I feel after a year and a half of total lockdown, no travel and face mask and everything. Now everything is lifted. We can get out and start getting back to work, and that's exactly what I'm doing. A couple of the majority of the people that are getting together for this film shoot, we haven't seen each other in a year and a half, and most of them haven't been traveling either. And it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to get out there, get in front of the cameras and start yakking. Okay? So that is what is going on this week. I want to remind everybody once again, this July 17th, today we're sitting on July 5th. July 17th, we are having an extraordinary event. That is our Forbidden Disclosure online conference with Richard Dolan, Linda Moulton Howe, Lue Elizondo, Nick Pope, Billy Carson, and myself. This is an 11-hour all-day live event. Tickets are available. The info is available. You can click on the description box below if you're over there on YouTube. Head over to the website. There are banners and links over there. We've got links up and throughout social media. We have been contacted by the major media outlets about this conference and wanting the details. This is going to be covered. You want to be a part of this. This is going down July 17th, so go and get your tickets now. All right, follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. I just got this email from YouTube, and it said, "We are deleting spam accounts. You may see your subscriber." Total decline. I'm like, here we go. It's just like Twitter. You remember when Twitter did the mass flush? Oh man, that was insane, and it was fun to watch though. So let's see what I just got the email right before the show tonight, and I can't wait for that. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. The Sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. I was just over on YouTube. Hello to everybody on Spreaker, KGRA, Facebook. What is up? I hope everybody had a great July 4th weekend. I've got so many things in the pipeline right now. Not only with the show and the film shoot and this new TV series and July 17th. And wow, it's crazy in my world right now. But there you go. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the Sandbox. And there you go. Let's get to the breaking news. Sad news today. Richard Donner, the director and producer whose credits include the Christopher Reeve Superman, The Omen, The Goonies, Scrooged, Conspiracy Theory, and Lethal Weapon, has died. He died today. He was 91 years old. I talked to him on the phone many years ago. It was about repairing some of his gear. But I actually talked to him on the phone. It was probably 1992 or something like that, but he passed away today. Now, this is insane. This story broke today. Cybersecurity teams are working feverishly to stem the impact of the single biggest global ransomware attack on record, with some details emerging about how the Russia-linked gang R-Evil breached Kaseya, whose software was the conduit. Now, R-Evil infected thousands of victims in at least 17 countries on Friday. Late Sunday, R-Evil offered a posting on its dark website, a universal decryptor software key that would unscramble all affected machines in exchange for $70 million in cryptocurrency. Absolutely incredible. Well, this story broke over the weekend. It is July 4th. Joey Chestnut battered his own record set last year by gobbling down 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. He did it yesterday to win his 14th title at the annual 4th of July contest sponsored by Nathan's. Normally held at the eatery's flagship location on Coney Island, this year's installment was staged in front of several thousand attendees at a nearby minor league baseball field in New York. As a measure of Chestnut's dominance, runner-up Jeffrey Esper managed to down just 50 hot dogs. Third place finisher Nick Wary was credited with 44. Oh, just 76. Oh my God. Jeff Bezos has officially ended his run as chief executive at Amazon, the online retailing behemoth that made him the world's richest man, stepping aside to spend more time on his spaceship company and climate change activism. The leadership transition went into effect today, having been finalized this past May, with Andy Jassy, formerly head of Amazon's cloud computing business, taken over as CEO. Bezos will remain involved in the company as executive chairman, focusing on new products and early initiatives, whatever that means. Bezos, who ranks as the world's richest person with a fortune estimated by Forbes at $202 billion. He founded Amazon in 1994. Well, this is crazy news. Researchers at the UK's University of Oxford have administered the first doses of a potential HIV vaccine to participants as part of a phase 1 clinical trial launched today. The trial, called HIV Core 0052, aims to evaluate the safety of the vaccine. The project is part of the European AIDS Vaccine Initiative, funded by the European Commission. Insane. Now, finally, on this 5th of July, I'm going to leave you with this, because yesterday, Senator Ted Cruz posted this on Twitter. You ready? At Ted Cruz. You can see it for yourself. Quote, "On this 4th of July, we reflect on the incredible spirit of American patriots. Whether it's standing up to redcoats or Nazis, or even space aliens, Americans never surrender. Stop fighting for freedom. Happy Independence Day." And in his tweet, he's got the little alien heads. That's right, the little gray alien heads. Pretty trippy. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today, the one and only Edie Falco. Today is 58. Huey Lewis, I can't even believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say, is 71. My old friend, I produced a bunch of stuff for him back, I'm going to say late 80s. Michael Monarch of Steppenwolf today is 71. Jimmy Crespo, former Aerosmith guitarist, today is 67. And Robbie Robertson of the band is 78. That guy's birthday today is Mac. 1970 to 2004, died at the age of 34. Mac was a rapper, hip-hop pioneer, and a record producer based in Vallejo, California. He was an instrumental figure in the emergence of the Bay Area hip-hop scene in the early 2000s. As the founder of Thiz Entertainment, he recorded dozens of albums and gave aspiring rappers an outlet to release albums locally. Well, on November 1st, 2004, Mac Dre was killed by a performance in Kansas City, Missouri, a case that remains unsolved. Happy birthday, Mac Dre. On this day in history, 1996, Dolly the sheep becomes the first successfully cloned mammal. I thought that happened in the 70s. That's like a Mandela effect. 1996. I could have sworn that was in like 1976. But there you go. Fader fact. Peanuts, walnuts, almonds, cashews, and pistachios are not nuts. They are classified as seeds. And that is your Fader fact. Tonight, very special guest, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief, joins us for the very first time. And I do want to remind everybody, I will be on location for the rest of the week shooting a new film. And I will be hanging out in social media. So I'm not going to be completely gone. All right? But I will be back a week from today with a brand new, fresh week of Fade to Black. Right now, let me hit this River Moon coffee. Did you see that Bigfoot video I posted today? rivermoonwellness.com. All the links are over at Jimmy Church Radio. Just head straight over. Best coffee in the world. Absolute best coffee in the world. All the links are there. Visit our Amazon store, Game Changer Blend, Fade to Black Blend. If you want to taste what I'm tasting, go get yourself some River Moon coffee. You see that Bigfoot video I posted today? I got that video from a friend of mine that I've known for, that long, 35, 40 years. Ron Lubin. And so I watched the video and I was like, what do we do with this? Well, okay. I hadn't seen the video before. I know that from the source that I got it from, nobody in our community had seen it before. So I decided to post it on Twitter just to get everybody's reaction. So if you haven't seen this Bigfoot video yet, and it's pretty interesting. I'm just saying, just go check it out. It's up in my Twitter feed, and I would love everybody's comments. And I tagged Awakening Man in this, and he waited all day to check Twitter. And there you go. So he finally chimed in. He's our resident Bigfoot expert. So we'll see what Awakening Man has to say about this video. But I want everybody to go and check it out. All right? All right. Now, I want you to kick back. Kick back for a second. Because I got something to say. Earlier today, I was driving on the freeway, had some stuff to do before my trip tomorrow, and had to go do some stuff, and I did. So I'm driving on the freeway and listening to a classic rock station. And Breakfast in America by Supertramp came on the radio. And it's amazing how music from your past can stir up memories, right? And Breakfast in America always takes me back to one place. My drafting class in the Walker Career Center at Warren Central High School in Indianapolis. And the year was 1980. All right, we're in 2021. So this is 41 years ago. And the reason for this direct download to my drafting table every time I hear the song is because of my teacher, Mr. Diamond Hayes. Now, on my first day of my senior year, I had Mr. Hayes for first period. And so I'm there, excited, right? First day of my senior year in high school. And as he introduced himself to the class, he said this, and I quote, he said, "Every day we will listen to music in my class. I will play my favorite jazz albums, and we'll also listen to Q95, our rock station." And I was like, wow, this dude is cool. This dude is really cool. All right, I'm in. And there you go. But my second period class was right next door. And my second period class was architectural drafting. And that teacher, whose name I don't remember, just bugged me. He just bugged me with his first words. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm not going to dig this. And I raised my hand. Right? I'm like this. And I'm talking about like 2 minutes into the class. And raising my hand. And he called on me. And I said, can I go ask Mr. Hayes a question? I'll be right back. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. So I get up. I walk next door into to Mr. Hayes, and I said, Mr. Hayes, can I please take a second class with you? And he looked at me. He had these glasses, and this beard, And he looked at me, and he looks through the glass at the teacher in the next room. And he goes, sure. And he takes out a pad, and he writes me a pass to the office, and he writes a note on it, right? It says something. And he tears it off, and he goes, go make the change. So I ended up taking 3 classes with Diamond Hayes. The first 2 periods in the morning, and I went back and got a free period that I had. It was senior year, and I took a 3rd class for him right after lunch. I did this for 2 semesters. Everything that Diamond Hayes taught me was off of the books. I was on my own program, and it was glorious. And he really, really, really made sure that he was going to teach. It was glorious. It was absolutely glorious. Not only did he teach me how to draw, he taught me about jazz. His record collection was insane, and he would come in and he would take out this thing, he would explain to everybody who was on the album and why this thing was special. He'd drop that needle and play some jazz stuff. But it was also Q95 playing in the background as I drew. When it was Supertramp and it was REO Speedwagon and Heart and Led Zeppelin, Bob Seger, that whole Indianapolis thing. But yeah, every time I hear Supertramp today, I'm right there with Diamond Hayes. He kept the pressure on me, and he let me know that I was way ahead of a college class. And our friendship was as solid as any teacher-student thing could be. Now, all of the work over my senior year was what I took to Bell Laboratories for my interview that I had after I graduated. And I was still only 17 years old at the time. Bell hired me that summer of 81. And I didn't even turn 18 until October of that year. A couple of months after I was on the job in the art group at the labs. Now, a couple of years later, I was at our local music store, Thompson's Music, across the street from Eastgate Mall. And it was the middle of winter. And I was walking back to my apartment, which was up the street, Washington Boulevard there. And I decided to take a shortcut through the Eastgate Mall parking lot. It was a massive parking lot that was empty, covered in snow, through this snowstorm. And as I walked in this blinding snow, and it was cold and it was windy, I saw way up ahead of me, 100 yards, right? I saw somebody walking towards me in the distance. And our paths started to meet, and I could see that. And we did. Face to face in the middle of the snowstorm. And I hear in this snowstorm, as I live and breathe, Mr. Church. And I looked up and I was like, Mr. Hayes, what the hell, man? And I just couldn't believe it. And I asked him about school. And he had said that he had just retired. I'm starting to get choked up here. And he said that he had just retired. And I told him about Bell Labs. And I said, man, I'm working at Bell Laboratories and you helped me get the job. And he smiled. And he was happy. He really was. Getting a lump in my throat. We hugged, we shook hands, and said goodbye. And I turned and watched him walk through the snow, across the parking lot. I'm just standing there. I'm like, man, that is the weirdest thing. And that was it. That was it. Never saw him again. That was it. But I have Supertramp. That is the power of music. It will always take you to places that you need to get to. That's the power of music. And Diamond Hayes, through that semester, 2 semesters, 3 classes a day, played me the most extraordinary music. And the tales that he told us about these jazz bands and these jazz musicians, I remember all of them to this day. And he also gave us the freedom of Q95. You know, Jackson Brown, Bob Seger, you know, REO Speedwagon, these Indianapolis bands, they take me back to that drafting room. And I want to thank Diamond Hayes. I know he's no longer with us, but you made me who I am today. And Supertramp brought all of those memories back. And I don't want to forget Diamond Hayes. With that, tonight we have very special guest Cristina Gomez is with us of the Debrief. She is joining us for the very first time. Want to remind everybody again, I'll be on location for the rest of the week. After tonight, I am shooting a new film. It's going to be great. It's going to be released in September. I'm excited about all of that. I will be back a week from today, next Monday, for a brand new week of Fade to Black. Right now, I'm going to take a short break. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back with our guest, Cristina Gomez. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief joins us for the first time. Excited about the show tonight. We're going to find out how she got into ufology, and I just lost her. She literally just dropped off my screen. Oh, man. We're going to find out how she got into ufology and what it's like to be the bright, new, fresh voice of our community. And that was crazy. Right as I said that, boom, she disappeared. Cristina became fascinated with the concept of alien life at a very young age, and Cristina. But it wasn't until high school that her interest became serious. She's in college now, studying for a BA degree in business and communication. She began her own YouTube channel to scrutinize public UFO sighting videos submitted to a variety of platforms. Using video software, she slowed down the footage, zoomed in, stabilized, and enhanced, then would post the results for others to study. Well, in March 2021, she began working with the team at the Debrief, producing video content featuring interviews with prominent figures in the UFO research community, such as Lue Elizondo and James Fox. Now, she is writing her first book, which will take a deep dive into many aspects of the UFO mystery from the perspective of a young Gen Z Latina, being aimed at her generation to promote more interest in the subject while continuing to interview researchers and witnesses on her YouTube channel, which has several feature shows that cover different aspects of the phenomenon. And I would like to welcome, for the first time to Fade to Black, Cristina Gomez. Cristina, good evening. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy. I am great now. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. But Cristina, okay, tap on your microphone. Tap on the microphone. Not working. Okay, so as she's getting her microphone working, I love it. I get to ask, or I get to give Cristina. Yeah?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. That's what everybody wants to hear. Okay. Okay, so
well, let me say, my laptop restarted twice right before going live, so my heart's racing a little bit.
But you look good. Remember, in the words of the great Ricardo Montalban, it's better to look good than to feel good. Always remember that. Now, Cristina, you get the first-time guest disclaimer. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Which is
ready.
Cristina, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Take a deep breath. Cristina, I've got to start here because I've watched your entrance in to the UFO community, and it's been great. And I have as you know, I've been lurking in the background. I've been watching your shows and hanging out a little bit and participating, but with keen interest, like everybody else. And so tonight, I want to talk about you a little bit, and I want to start with why the interest in UFOs. Was there something that happened when you were a kid? Did you see something? Was it your parents? Are they crazy?
My parents. My dad is a really big influence to what I do today. Since I was 5 until present day, we've always watched reruns of The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits. And for those that are not familiar with The Twilight Zone, it's a TV show from the very early 1960s when it was still black and white, and it covered topics on the paranormal, the fringe, portals, Bigfoot, UFOs, but adding this aspect of critical thinking that other TV shows just don't possess, where they really make you think of what if without really giving you the answers. So in a way, it was like watching these shows. You're not watching it only for entertainment, but you're making your own conclusions on these kind of bizarre topics, and especially for this time period, the early 1960s. This was 100% taboo. No one talked about this openly, and it's a show that I've never gotten tired of. I've watched it for, 15 years, and I can still watch it. I love it that much. And so that's what really sparked my interest, was my dad loving it. And then later, when I was about 8 or 9, I began to join a horse camp where I did Western riding. And this was the very first time I was exposed to campfire stories. And there's a really big difference between watching TV shows and being interested on it and being in a campfire with other people your age or those older or younger, fire, s'mores, ton of sugar going through your system at a young age, and being under the stars. So it adds this whole other flavor to hearing these stories, watching other people give their stories, or even their expressions to the things that they're hearing about these stories. And that was the big time where I heard other people talking about Bigfoot, UFOs, things that are going on in space that we don't really know about. And it's also including, fiction stories or sci-fi that aren't necessarily true stories. It could also be myths. But that's what later on made me want to start going into the library and getting my hands on all of these types of books that I could. And ever since then, I've never left the library. I spent all of my free time there when I was younger, but now I don't have free time, so I'm not in the library.
Sounds like an episode of Fade to Black. And what's cool about that, though, is you start to maybe think that the world isn't what it seems to be, right? It's supposed to be normal, but maybe it's not, right? And did that start to chart that course for you?
It's those kinds of questions of saying, well, it should be normal, but it's not. That makes you ask those huge questions. The biggest ones. Are we alone in the universe? What's going on that the eyes cannot see? There are so many things, right, that we cannot see with our eyes. There's only a certain spectrum of light that is able to be seen. So with these kinds of questions, researching the paranormal, researching the UFO topic at a young age, it really began to feed this curiosity, but also really made me stand out from my peers. So I did not talk about it when I was in middle school, and especially in high school, it's not something that I spoke to with my friends or my peers. Instead, I would spend all day, every day in the library. I would ditch class to hang out in the library. And it's just not something that I would talk about, because we know in high school, or those of us that have children that are in high school, you just want to fit in. You want to wear the clothes that are in. You want to talk about the conversations that are trending. You want to have friends that are cool, this, that, and the other, all this boring stuff. But you do not want to stand out the wrong way. And at this time, when I was in high school, talking about aliens, talking about UFOs, interdimensionals, all these kinds of topics were still laughed at and wasn't taken seriously. It wasn't until college that I really wanted to really get serious on the topic, where I had this desire to want to talk about this with my peers. But I quickly realized after I left very far from home, I wanted to leave as far as possible from where I grew up. I realized when talking to these people, trying to engage them in these kinds of topics, they wanted to be under some kind of substance while having these conversations. They didn't want to do it with a sober mindset. And for me, I'm like, no, I want to talk about this with the clearest mind possible, get the best information I can, try to understand what's going on versus having a good time, quote, quote.
Well, that's part of college, though. But I wanted to ask you this. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I'm hanging out in one of your live streams, and you said something that shocked me. So can I ask you about that?
Go for it.
You said, my parents don't know what I'm doing right now.
That's correct.
And I said to myself, do they not have the internet? Right? But they don't know about the Debrief or your YouTube channel or your Twitter feed. They don't know these things.
No, they do not. I avoid talking about this with my parents, even though they're huge fans of Ancient Aliens.
Right.
They can talk about it for hours about how much they love the show. My mom's obsessed with Giorgio Tsoukalos, like she's in love with him. But coming from a Latin background, my mom's Venezuelan, my dad is Mexican American. I'm in college. I'm supposed to get a degree, not have any distractions. And the UFO topic is a ginormous distraction in their eyes. It has nothing to do with my degree. And it's these kinds of things that I can't just casually talk about on the dinner table while I'm in college. But if they do end up finding out before I graduate, I know that they will be my biggest fans. Yet they would also say, oye, mija, you should be studying on your college courses, not este cosa. And I'm like, okay, Mom.
Why don't I have Giorgio call your mom and say, Miss Gomez, I want to talk to you about your daughter. Would that maybe open the door a little bit, make it okay?
I think my mom would faint.
She would.
I think she would pass out on the floor.
I think I can arrange that. I think I can arrange that. I think I can make that happen.
It's going to end up being a reality TV show, Jimmy.
I think I can make that happen. But and I understand that, you're far away from home and things, but they know that you're going to be branching out and doing your own thing. And I think that they would be impressed. I really do. You put a lot of effort into this.
I try to, but I think when the time comes when I graduate, I will openly talk about it to my family along with my friends as well. But I know when it comes to college and my college friends, they are aware that I'm interested in the UFO topic. They just don't know to what extent. They don't know my internet persona because I'm not really the type to yell out to the public about my life, about what I do online, or even about my personal life. I'm a very private person, and I don't like to give my opinions, and I don't like comparing myself to others, especially in this field, because I'm very, very new to this topic. I've only been researching heavily for the last year or so. So when people ask for my opinions on these kinds of topics, to myself, I believe that they're uneducated compared to those that have been in this field for decades. And also it's due to my lack of experience, because again, I've only been doing this heavily for about a year or so.
Let me give you some harsh reality. I'm going to be 58, and I consider I consider myself young in this community, and what I mean by that is I, just like you, I am familiar with and have followed so many researchers and experiencers and personalities in the UFO community for such a long time that now I work alongside them, but I still feel like the new guy in the room. I really do. I honestly feel that way. But as you move forward, always remember that if I can give you a piece of advice, nobody has the answers. Nobody does. If somebody says that they have the answers, run, because they don't know. They simply don't know. Constantly pull the information in. That's all you got to do. Just pull it in, take a look at it, and file it away, and take steps forward, and you'll be just fine. So that's it. But let's get back to you. Have you seen anything? Now, I saw your night watch, sky watch equipment presentation, right? Do you have gear? Have you gone out on a sky watch? Have you seen anything strange?
So I have gone out. I have some interesting equipment. I wouldn't say it's special. I think the only one that's worth mentioning is called the Psionics Aurora Pro, which is a night vision camera.
Mm-hmm. I have one.
Beautiful. You do?
I sure do. The color one, right? The color one.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Color, the opposite of black and white, the opposite of the Twilight Zone. Okay, but yes, I have one of those. They're really cool.
Oh, they're amazing. For those that have a budget to spend a little bit of cash, I recommend getting one. They are insanely incredible. So I do have equipment along with basic equipment such as binoculars, headlamps, battery packs. Can never forget the snacks. You get really munchy during night watches because you have nothing else to do but look in the sky. It makes you hungry. People forget these things sometimes. And so when I was doing this live cast about gear and gadgets to do night sky watches, there were a few things that even I learned, and I found them very, very valuable, and I hope that other people can get the same kind of value that I was getting. The big reason to why I have my YouTube channel, Shifting the Paradigm, the big reason to why I have the shows that I have, such as Shifting the Paradigm and Mysteries with a History, is not only to structure my research, because the UFO topic is so broad. You can so easily get lost in research. So with these shows that I have and bringing in guests such as UFO researchers and UFO enthusiasts, it really helps narrow the research down. You're talking with people that are knowledgeable in a very specific section of the field, and this helps answer any questions that you have, or at least lead you into the right direction. So with night sky watching and with having these shows, it's to motivate myself and inspire myself, but also inspire others that are watching, because you can so easily get swallowed in the ocean of all this information. You don't know what's disinformation. You don't know what's truth. So having people guide you, or even just asking questions, can really make a big difference when it comes to research in this field.
Now, I have to ask you before we get to the break, how did you get connected up with the Debrief?
So Tim McMillan reached out to me. He saw my YouTube channel, and he said, "We want you on the team."
It was as simple as that.
It was as simple as that. There's nothing else.
Who was cooler, Tim McMillan or Micah Hanks? I just want to know, who's the better boss?
Tim McMillan is the one that I have the most contact with when it comes to creating content for the Debrief. Tim McMillan is a more strict journalist, so I don't have a lot of communication with him.
But, so you're saying Micah Hanks is cooler?
Oh, don't put words in my mouth, Jimmy.
Right. But that's the correct answer, though. If you're going to move forward, I know Micah's laughing right now. And Micah, go ahead and text me and let me know that you heard that. Cristina says you're the cool one. And this is the other thing. Micah wears really cool socks. So he's got that going for him, too. Plus, he plays guitar. But the Debrief, a lot like what you have been doing, the Debrief is new, too. You know, Mike is not, you know, and Tim McMillan's been around for a while. Mike has been at this for a very long time. But the Debrief itself as a platform has just, you know, virtually just launched. You know, it's a year old. Yeah. And it has become a cornerstone of the community very quickly.
It has. And when it's been referenced from people such as Joe Rogan, that also really builds up their credibility. But they're not just a UAP website. There's so much. These journalists are so much more. They also talk about aerospace, technology, futurism, and so many other cutting edge topics that are not just UAP, and that sometimes can be a misconception. And that's what I really love about them, is that they take their job so seriously. They really vet out all of the information that they get. They do background information, and they do countless interviews, and they write amazing articles by countless journalists and do a beautiful job. Honestly, I'm so lucky to be a part of the Debrief team. Now,
what about your studies in college? Are you venturing into any of the sciences or astronomy or anything where you can ask some funky questions?
I'm currently majoring in communication and business. So nothing to do with the UAP topic at all. When you're in high school, that's when you decide what career you want. And that can be a little bit difficult because I wasn't so serious about the UAP topic. I was never very good at science class. I was never very good at math. So I wanted to find a topic or a degree that I knew I could get a degree in. I just wanted to pass and leave. And Jimmy, let me tell you a really embarrassing story. Okay, I'll tell you an embarrassing story.
Go ahead.
In my freshman year in high school, I had a math tutor that was recommended to me by a friend. The dumb thing was he was a college professor in math, like basic math. And that was already a mistake. And so he was like a come to the house tutor. And I was really struggling with like basic algebra. I've never really grasped it too well. So after the third session he had with me, he says, "Where is your mom?" And I said, "Oh, she's outside on a phone call." He says, "Oh, well, I need you to bring her in." So I bring my mom in. And he says, right in front of my mom, with no embarrassment, he says, "Your daughter is unteachable. I quit." And I will never, ever forget that moment.
That's rock and roll. That's rock and roll right there. That's rock and roll. Well, see, this is the thing. Let's before we get to the break. So if you're going to major in communications, you have some opportunities, right? The college radio station, right? News, broadcast, of course, journalism and writing, right? You're going to do all of those things?
So it becomes more specific. Those are all kind of subcategories, and you can take one course in those. But overall, communication is really just interacting with people,
right?
And just understanding how to do basic journalism, but also it's kind of more of like an elective degree. It's not incredibly structured, the one that I'm taking. It's one of the easiest ones, and that's why I signed up for it.
Yeah, no math. But this is the thing. This is what you should do, because this is what I did. I went to one of my teachers, and I literally said, "What about the UFOs?" And he's like, "What?" And this guy worked for CNN, right?
Wow.
I said, what about the UFOs, man? What if you have a UFO story, right? He goes, no, man, that's the kiss of death. No, I'm not going to my news director with a UFO story. So I recommend that you do the same thing. Just, what about the UFOs? Just raise your hand in class. I don't want to work for entertainment tonight. I want to be the UFO girl. That's what I want to do.
And that's what I'm doing for the debrief. So my dream is coming true.
Yeah. And I'm wondering about your approach to it. There's like two ways you can go. I like play it down the middle, but you've got the scientific, fact-based side of ufology, and you got the full-on crazy woo-woo side.
The tin hats.
Yes. Which way? Which course are you going to chart?
Well, with the debrief and with my work as well, you're going to go with the more scientific way, the one with evidence, the one with no bias or opinion. The more woo-woo section, or the tinfoil hat, is a lot of conspiracy theories. It's a lot of, well, I think. And that can kind of be a dangerous road, especially for journalists or those that are a public figure online. So with shifting the paradigm and with the debrief, I've interviewed people that have a good background. And with the debrief, even though I may be their UFO girl, I've also interviewed a man by the name of Jacob Hack Mishra, who's an astrobiologist. So instead of talking about, yes, there are UFOs visiting us, he goes more into the topic that, how does life evolve in space? If a certain planet is rotating around a star, what is needed for life to evolve? So you're taking a very more scientific approach to that kind of topic, and I find it beautiful, and it has a lot of evidence behind it, or some kind of hypothesis to why they believe what they do, versus saying, well, I think this, even though it's an uneducated guess.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. But I would say, except the woo-woo out there has turned out to be right. Right? That's the whole crazy part. And when I go and interview somebody like Avi Loeb or Isaac Arthur, right? These brilliant physicists, these guys are full woo-woo. I mean, they are willing to cross the line and go woo-woo because science and woo-woo are about to hit head on, and they can't avoid it. You know, and
but I wouldn't say it's woo-woo, Jimmy. I would say they have a higher educated guess than those that are not in that kind of field. And I deeply admire Avi Loeb. He has done some amazing interviews and really covered some interesting topics. But the thing that you stated that I loved, or that I found interesting, was woo-woos are saying the truth now. It's the same thing with science fiction. 30 years ago, 50
100%.
years ago, it was science fiction, but now it is science fact.
Keep doing what you're doing. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Cristina Gomez. Cristina Gomez of the Debrief is with us. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I've got a surprise for Cristina. I've got a surprise. I gave her a little warning. I gave her the shot across the bow earlier today. She has no idea. We're going to do all of that when we come back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to forbiddenknowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today and use coupon code 30 days free. That's coupon code 30 days free on forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Cristina, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief is with us. And her link over to her website is over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can go click on that. And as promised, this is what I decided to do. And I have, Cristina, I just want to let you know that I've watched a lot of your presentations and your research. And it all intrigued me. Oh, by the way, you didn't answer my question in the first segment. Have you seen anything strange in the sky? Have you had your first UFO sighting?
Yes.
Well, what happened?
It's not something I've ever spoken about, because when I went on vacation, like a normal vacation on a tour group, not like a UFO tour group, we encountered something that we agreed not to talk about to the public, just because for some it really terrified us. But what I can say is that it kind of resembled the Carlos Diaz lights. And so it looked kind of like a glowing jellyfish. It wasn't fully metallic. It wasn't fully organic. It was kind of a mixture of the two. But it's not something that I've really fully processed. But it did solidify my belief in such things. And it completely shifted my paradigm.
So what happened? Altitude, distance? How many friends were with you?
Those are too many questions, Jimmy.
Yeah, I know. It's my job, and I'm really good at it, by the way. So, how far away was it?
Well, like I said, it's something that we all agreed not to speak about, but this is the first time I've ever even talked about it. So I think that's a really big deal. But when it comes to trajectory or how far it was or how close it was, because I didn't have the knowledge that I have today, it could have changed completely. I had nothing to measure it with, but I will say it was somewhat close to us. Not incredibly close, because I don't know how close it was, but somewhat decent.
And you said it wasn't metallic.
It didn't seem fully metallic, and it didn't seem fully organic. It was kind of a mixture of the two, something that I can only describe it as similar to the Carlos Diaz lights.
What color?
Kind of yellowy orange.
That's really cool. How long was it visible?
Excuse me?
How long was it visible? How long?
Oh, only 30 seconds. So it wasn't long enough to do take pictures, take video like we all should be doing whenever we see something insane. We were in such shock that none of us got any footage.
Well, I've been down that road. It's totally understandable. But afterwards, what went through your mind? Like, holy crap, this stuff is real.
Even to this day, it's not something I fully processed, because I couldn't explain it.
And what about your friends?
My friends that were there?
Yes.
It's one of those kinds of things that you see it and you don't really talk about it after.
Yeah, I know. How long ago did this happen?
Let it pass. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And daytime, nighttime?
Wow, Jimmy, are you an investigator now? Nighttime.
Nighttime. What time?
I don't know. Like 7 or 8 o'clock.
Okay. So the point is you're awake, right?
The point was I was awake, and I did see it for 30 seconds. There was no missing time. None of our electronics were misbehaving in any way.
Right.
No.
Right. And with what you know now, what in the research that you've done, since then, what do you think you saw? Was it interdimensional? Do you think it was a ship?
Even with all the research that I have done, and when it comes to the UFO topic, everything is merely speculation. We don't really know what we see in the skies. We don't really know what we see when videos are recorded. We can only possibly guess, because there's no real evidence to explain the things that we see. So I don't know. I truly do not know, and not something that I'm ready to really speculate on publicly.
The cases that are out there, mm-hmm. Do you have? I'll help you out here. One of my favorite, if I'm going to say I have two, the best photographs out there. I've got Rex Heflin Orange County, California in the 60s. That series of photographs still to this day, I think are extraordinary. And the Rhodes photographs from Phoenix, Arizona back in 1947. Those two images stick out for me. Do you have a case that is your favorite?
My favorite case, if it's not including photos or videos being recorded, my favorite case would either be the Travis Walton case, one of the most famous ones that we've all heard of, or the one by Whitley Strieber when he wrote his book and talked about communion. Those two are some of the most extreme stories and also one of my absolute favorites in every possible way. Now,
I've put together a list, okay? I put together a list of things that I wanted to ask you about, and oddly enough, Travis Walton is number 2 on the list. So, but to help the audience better understand who you are, I wanted to go through these different points and discuss them. So let's. Travis Walton was number 2, but since you mentioned Travis, let's start there. What attracts you to Travis Walton, and have you spoken with him?
I have not had the pleasure to speak with him, but if that does happen, I think my heart will fall out of my chest.
Okay, I can make that happen too. I can make that happen. I'll have Travis call your mom. You know what's going to happen?
I think she knows who he is.
You know what's going to happen? Your mom's going to call you tomorrow. Who is this Jimmy Church, mija? One of my friends just called me and said that they heard you last night on this show talking about little green men. What's going on? You know what's going to happen? The warning is there. But Travis Walton, is it the evidence? Is it the witnesses? You know, the crew around him? Is it his testimony? What is it for you that makes his story what it is?
It's all the bits and pieces. It's not just one factor. It's not just the other. It's all of them combined. Yes, you have Travis Walton having his experience, documenting it in his book. Yes, you have the witnesses talking about it, but also the fact that he was missing for several days. No one could find him, and then he just suddenly appeared. That's huge, because not only do you have those witnesses of the other men that were with him, but now you have policemen, even those in the town, that couldn't account for the time he was gone. No one knew where he was. And then you have the beautiful lie detector tests. You have all of these factors that make the story as a whole something so compelling. And when he came back, after he was found, he was in a mess. He was in a complete mess when he showed up.
He was also naked. See,
there you go.
Yeah,
that makes
right.
it even more interesting. Why would you be naked in public? It's frowned upon.
Yes, at a phone booth. But there's another element for me with Travis, and you're absolutely right with everything that you just said. But it's also 45 years of the story being consistent, 100% consistent. 100%. When you'll meet him someday, and when you do, just simply look into his eyes. It's an incredible thing to do, and he's such he's very smart. That's the thing, and he's also very, very funny. But he is grounded and honest, and you see that in his eyes. And so there you go. We got to get him. Got to get him on your show. So okay, Roswell. Let's talk about Roswell for a second. What's your take on Roswell?
It's one of the biggest phenomena, right? And this whole mystery, especially in the United States, there are so many little theories, conspiracies, thoughts, opinions, and it's never ending. It's a never ending conversation with people. And it's the first thing that people go to that are interested in the UFO topic. It's the first thing that's researched in this kind of topic, and I love it. Anything that has to do with the UFO UAP topic, and it's just being talked about regardless of what the situation is. It's a beautiful thing to hear, but here's the thing. I'm still so new and I'm still learning so much, and there's so many factors to the Roswell incident and all of these other alien stories.
Now, what do you think about the part of Roswell which involves aliens, ETs, that were captured, rescued, and spirited away? That takes the story of any UFO incident to a new level. Do you think that alien bodies or living ETs were captured?
I'm completely open-minded to the topic. There is no, quote, air quotes, real evidence that can be pumped to the public, but I'm completely open-minded to the possibility.
Now, the air base, Roswell Army Airfield, prepared a press release, which was taken to the Roswell Daily Record, and of course went out across the wire services. And that statement was crafted at the Army Airfield for public release. It was retracted the next day. Where do you go with that? Do you go with the retraction, or did the Army intentionally say the truth?
There are so many layers to the story. There are so many layers to the Roswell incident. What if that was all intentional? What if maybe this whole Roswell incident was a distraction for something else? We don't know. We do not know why there was a retraction, why something else was written, which one to believe. It's such a mysterious topic that no one really has real answers to, and that's why it's still popular to this day, while it's still talked about to this day, why people ask the questions, were there alien bodies? How many were there? Some say that a few of them were dead and one was alive. What happened to these bodies? Where are the bodies? We want to see the bodies. And that's people's attitude towards it, because no one has the real answers, because it's so covered up. There's so many files that are buried on top of someone's desk somewhere, and the public is hungry to know what really happened.
Yeah, what was interesting was that with the retraction that happened the next day, we were so close to the truth, right? And then the retraction happened, and from that point forward, it seemed that the government, the FBI, all the way up to the White House, and certainly the Air Force, now had a way of covering up the story. And it hasn't changed in 75 years.
No, you're right. Before it was weather balloons, and now we have drones as the cover-up.
Well, which takes me to my number 3, black triangles.
Mm-hmm.
Us or them?
Us or them? Who's them?
Them being them, off planet.
Black triangles. It's not something that I've really done a lot of research on. Something that I really know about.
Okay, and this is great. Okay, I'll help you along. The guy that you want to talk to is David Marler, and his book Black Triangles is incredible. But what ended up happening, and you've heard of the TR-3B, there was a wave in the 80s of black triangle sightings in Belgium, which also happened in the UK. But of course, it goes back in the United States here, all the way back to the Rhodes photographs of 1947 in Phoenix. I think that clearly shows a black triangle. But there were black triangles that were sighted throughout history. But now it's become more of a modern phenomenon. And so I'm wondering if the black triangles, well, some may be ET, but I think some of them, most of them, may be us. Right?
I think that's very possible. They could completely be man-made. And if anything, I think that they could be ours. I do know about the Belgium sightings, and I have seen pictures. And by the looks of it, it is possible for them to be ours. And think of it like this. It would be so much easier for people that have this kind of knowledge, I don't want to be pumped out to the public, to easily push it to saying it's aliens and not really the United States or whatever country conducting these kinds of experiments on this kind of technology. That's what I think. It's merely an opinion. But just to clarify, these black triangles that you're talking about, are they the ones with the red lights on the edge?
No, there's those, and there's white lights that have been reported on each corner. What I find interesting, though, is that quite possibly, and again, this is just my opinion, but some may have been extraterrestrial. Did we capture a craft? Did we backwards engineer it? Did we then replicate that technology into what may be the TR-3B program? Sure. One thing that I am pretty confident about is the sightings have been everywhere. You know, I had my own. I took a picture of one, and I still can't explain it. And when I show that picture to friends, they have the same reaction. It's like, holy crap, what is that? I don't know. I don't know if it's us or them, but the phenomenon itself is real. Absolutely. Okay, let's go to number 4. I got a long list here. Favorite cases. Rendlesham.
Oof. What a story.
Yes.
What a story. And the fact that one of the officials was able to jot down what he was seeing, was able to write the language or the topography in his journal is huge.
Well,
I love that story.
Yeah, it is. And it's modern, even though it was 1980, 81, Christmas. Everybody's still alive, right? And this is a military case. And we are still able to speak with and interview all of the witnesses who, you know, and this is another fascinating part about Rendlesham is we have a general agreement with the witnesses of who was there and who saw what. And they don't agree on anything, but they were all there. I find that to be one of the most fascinating cases. Okay.
It is. And then the fact that James Fox covered it too was really interesting for those that are not familiar with the story.
Men in Black.
That's really funny that you bring that up because that's the Mysteries with the History show I'm doing tomorrow. Men in Black.
Okay, which means your research is completed. So what do you?
It's not completed. It'll be completed tomorrow.
But I've had what I think is a Men in Black story, and it's really strange how there seems to be a Men in Black episode with so many of the major cases and events that have happened over the years. So what's your conclusion?
It's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of eyewitness accounts. There's very little written data on it that's at least open to the public, but it's not something that I've completed researching, but I will be prepared by tomorrow to be able to talk about the Men in Black. And let me kind of explain Mysteries with the History to why I do this, because when it comes to the paranormal, when it comes to the UFO topic, again, this is such a broad field that it's very difficult to pinpoint your research. So when I have these shows, it really makes it, for me, a strict curriculum to be able to do the research and to present it to the public. What I think, and this is merely opinion on what the Men in Black could be, is there have been cases going back to the 1940s, right? They're government agents. Could they be government agents? Could they be aliens? Could they be hybrids? There are so many conspiracies, so many theories on what these Men in Black are because they don't match normal human behavior. For example, why are they all bald? And like that's my big question. Why are they all bald?
We're going to be headed towards a break here. I had my own little experience, and I found it very, very strange. But the point that I've often made with my own experience is that it's real. And I mean this in a very serious sense. When somebody says they've had a sighting and somebody comes and knocks on their door, or they've got a car across the street and they're being watched. Yeah. Well, I went through that. No. I went through that, and I was a little bit offensive about it. I slammed the door twice on them, but I walked away thinking, man, these people aren't crazy. When you hear these stories about this, and then you go through it yourself, that's when you have to step back and go, how much of this actually goes on? Who are they? What's the intention? And you have to, when somebody talks about something like this, you really have to listen to them. You can't discount these experiences.
Right. It's as they say, seeing is believing. When you have your own experiences, when you begin to believe that these things are happening. And the Men in Black is a phenomenon. We don't know what they are. It leads to so many more questions of what they could possibly be. Is there some kind of connection with the black-eyed kids, or with shadow people, or again with aliens, hybrids? Are they some kind of government agent? There are countless questions. The question is, who has the answers?
Well, you're going to be walking around campus, and you're going to go, oh man, that car has been there all week. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, the next time you're on Fade to Black, Jimmy, I got a Men in Black story. I got a Woman in Black story. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief. I'm only 5 in on a very long list. We will continue all of this when we come back after this show break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief is with us for the first time. More with Cristina in just a second. I want to talk to you about Virtual Shield VPN. You need your own VPN. I've got a big studio here. I've got another studio. I've got another one on the East Coast. Everything runs Virtual Shield VPN. Nobody knows where I am. Nobody knows what I do. Nobody knows my search history. Nobody knows nothing. You need Virtual Shield VPN. You've got encrypted servers. You've got a strict no logs policy. Everything that you do and your location is yours and yours alone. That's it. It's simple to do. Click on the link in the video description box below. It'll take you straight there. 50% off of Virtual Shield right now. You can also type into your browser virtualshield.com/fade to black. Get Virtual Shield VPN today. Our guest today, Cristina Gomez of the Debrief. Now, Cristina, this is the deal. You are a Gen Zer. Yep. You're a Gen Zer. And there is, and I'm very excited about always fresh faces, fresh voices, and the next generation coming up, because I was one at some point myself. And then we have what has gone on over the last 3 years. And I think that what Tom DeLonge and TTSA did, him being a singer in a pop punk band, brought in a huge load of a larger audience for ufology, and I thought that was great. But here we are 3 years later, and I think that, in my opinion, that today everything is instant, everything is now. Everybody wants everything now, and I get that. I do that too. But here we are 3 years later, and TTSA is no longer part of the game. And did that deflate some of the enthusiasm of this new generation coming into ufology. The expectations were there, and some things just went away. Can you speak for your generation on that?
I can only speak for myself, not for my generation, but I will say is that I'm so excited for the time that we live in currently with the internet, with TV shows, with instant messaging, like you said. I'm learning, we're learning, everyone that's interested in this topic, in the internet age, where you have information at your fingertips. And myself personally, I'm standing on the shoulder of giants. Giants as in pioneers, those that are so knowledgeable in the topic, those that have walked through mud, been ridiculed, been laughed at, and helped make this topic more into the mainstream. One of them being, who is a more present day pioneer or even trooper, is Lue Elizondo. This man is on the news every single day. He goes.
I'm not familiar with Lue. Tell me about Lue. Who's Lue?
Luis. Should I say Luis Elizondo? But he goes by Lue. But he's a guy that is on the media every single day. He goes onto any podcast that invites him over. He has no bias to these people. He respects all of them equally, and that he'll talk to anyone, if you're a nobody or if you're a somebody. He just wants to get that conversation out there, and he just gives and gives and gives and doesn't ask for anything in return except to ask questions, to start the movement of talking to our congressmen, talking to our representatives, to make this topic more mainstream. And my generation is generally caught up in the entertainment industry. They want to know about what Kanye West posted or what the Kardashians are doing. And they're sticking their heads in their phones watching TikTok for the whole day, instead of asking some really important questions such as, what's life out there in the universe? And those kinds of questions pique our curiosity, create beautiful artists, scientists, senators, generals, teachers. It's by asking those questions, by having just a slight piece of curiosity, that can make our generation flourish and inherit the land that our forefathers have bestowed upon us, and to make it better than how we received it.
Well, okay, and we're going to continue with that in just a second, but are you surprised about Tom DeLonge, his silence, right? He started this movement, and now he's not here when the UAPTF report was released, and Lue is making these great strides, but we're not hearing from Tom. What do you make of that?
It is a bit curious, but it's not something that I've really focused on, because there are so many other things that have captured my attention, such as things that are hitting the news every day, such as people delivering versus those that are staying behind the shadows and not speaking. It's just not something that I've looked deeply in, or when it comes to Tom DeLonge, even considered.
You are a communications major. Well played, Cristina. Okay, I'm just going to let that go. But now let's talk about the UAPTF. The report was released on June 25th. Great fanfare. The build up. You covered it. What was your first reaction when you read those 9 pages?
I was actually out of town the day that it was dropped, in a location with no internet. I went camping with my family. And when it comes to a Latin family, you have to follow the rules when it comes to them. And you cannot really say, no, I can't come. They're like, nope, you're coming, or that's it. And I said, okay, I guess I'll be there. So when I got back a few days after the report was dropped, I think 5 days later, I was already behind. I was already old news. But when I read those 9 pages, it met my expectations. From the very beginning, because this has been a topic that's been talked about for 180 days by every single person who has a podcast. And every time I said it was going to be a preliminary report. And what was the first page? It said preliminary report. And in my opinion, this is merely an opinion, 6 months is not enough time to give the public or even Congress a sufficient amount of information. You're working with the U.S. Navy. You're working with the DOD, right? The Department of Defense. You're working with the Pentagon and so many others. And with all of these departments, they all have their own checks and balances in order to accomplish the goal. This is just my opinion. So every single department has to write a request. Then the other department has to receive the request and authorize to give the information back. That takes weeks. That takes a long period of time. So to solve all 144 cases. Only one was solved out of all of them in that report. And there are multiple reasons to why that could possibly be. Was it possible that they're giving out the truth by omission, saying, well, we really don't know what it is, so that means it's aliens? I don't know. Could it be the domestic developmental means? These are kind of like your black projects that only people that have incredibly high clearance knows about it. But those that are in Congress or even those that are writing this report in the Pentagon might not have any of this information about these black projects. So they would classify it as a UFO. They simply don't know what's going on. Or another reason could be that it was a near-peer spy program. So it's possible that, and we've heard this 100 times, that it could be adversary technology, either from Russia or from China, and they're coming and they're spying in our airspace across the globe. This being a complete security threat, which then, if people know about it, the Congress or those in the government know about it, can fund it, right? And then create technology that tries to match theirs, but that would also be covered from the public, being another black project trying to compete with the other countries. Or it really could be aliens, interdimensionals, or even another civilization that we are sharing with on this planet. 6 months was not enough time to answer any of these questions.
The buildup out there in the Twitterverse and in social media, and certainly even in the mass media, but specifically in social media, that here it is, right? Disclosure. It's going to happen on June 25th with this report. And in this society of everything being so fast today, and instant gratification and stuff, mm-hmm. is the letdown of what the expectations were of this report. Will it remove some of the energy that is out there in social media with disclosure?
People had their expectations too high, and especially from the government. People were hoping that they would disclose aliens. But can you really believe that the government or those writing this report would actually do that? I think these people that were hyping it, that were really excited, simply just had their expectations a little bit too high. Now, would that stop the drive for finding the truth or for losing hope? I disagree. Like Lue Elizondo has said, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We've been fighting for 7 decades, 70 years. Another year or two is not going to make a difference. Again, this report said preliminary. That should give the public hope, because that means another report is going to follow.
Do you expect hearings in Congress or the Senate?
I hope so. I'm open-minded to the possibility. Do I have a definite yes or no? I simply don't have those kinds of connections to say one or the other, but I really do hope that that does happen.
Which brings me to the Tic Tac, the Go Fast, and the Gimbal videos. Let's focus. In a general sense, all three. You've watched them countless times, like we all have. What do you think? What are you looking at?
Well, like for many others that like to analyze this footage, you're obviously looking at exhaust. You're looking at the kind of maneuver that it's doing. But also, for some people, they allow their bias or their opinion to fill their mind when trying to understand what these things could possibly be. Bias either believing that they're completely aliens, or the bias of being a debunker and not a skeptic and trying to prove it wrong regardless of the evidence that is found. I'm 100% open-minded on what they could be. Again, I'm no specialist. I'm brand new to the topic. I love the UFO topic, but my opinions are merely opinions. And
well, that's what I want.
Does that have?
Yep, and that's what I want is your opinion. See, if anybody hadn't suggested that these were UFOs or ET, right? That is part of the bias that is immediately there, right? When you say, these are UFOs, then you see the video, you're going to see a UFO. But if you're not told that this is a UFO, right? So in your opinion, when you're looking at these, does it feel ET-ish? Or do you think it's us? Yeah, let's start with the Tic Tac.
The Tic Tac shape is almost impossible. In the way and how it flies, the shape is almost impossible to our minds today. What we think. I mean, they're a pill, but also kind of similar to some cigar-shaped crafts that have been seen for decades. So it leads me to the question, do you think maybe Tic Tacs are just smaller versions of cigar crafts?
Could be.
We don't know.
Yeah. Could be. With the Tic Tac, do you think that the Tic Tac is moving in the Tic Tac video?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
And
but it just blows my mind with the shape and how it's even able to fly.
Right. Well, what supports the Tic Tac video for me is the testimony of David Fravor and, of course, Alex Dietrich. That's what supports what we're seeing in the Tic Tac video. Let's go with the Go Fast now. Also a very interesting video. Do you feel that is ET-ish?
I think it's possible.
Why?
I think it's just look at it. It's something that our minds, right, at least in the public eye, don't think it can be replicated. Now, does that mean that it can't be reverse engineered? No. It's possible that somehow our military has hands on the technology and testing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it really could be ETs that are in the water. The water is such an unexplored area that if I were a military official and I wanted to test private technology, where would I go? I would test it in the ocean where there's absolutely no witnesses, or at least very few witnesses.
Are you suggesting it's our technology that we're testing out there in the ocean?
It's a possibility.
Yeah, interesting.
Again, I'm no specialist.
No, I like
only
that
giving
take.
Uneducated guests.
Yeah, I like that take. Now, the gimbal video, which is probably one of the most contested out of all of these, We've seen it. I mean, how many times have it's everywhere? What do you think?
It's one of my favorites. It's so cool to watch. and it goes back to the first two things I've already stated. It could be us, or it really could be alien. But what I found weird is that it just starts shifting its position, slowing down and like a spinning top, that I don't think is very common when we do think of UFOs.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I didn't know what I was looking at.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really didn't, and I was very confused. I think the jury is still out on all of them. I don't know which direction to go. Everybody has their own opinions. Mick West, who has been a guest on this show, and his research and my eyes. I don't know. And what I find very interesting is there is millions of people have looked at these videos, and they're okay with the ET approach on this. So who am I to second guess, millions of people? My eyes tell me something different. I don't know. I don't know.
We live in a beautiful age, especially today, as of July 5th, that we can have these conversations and not be laughed at and actually be taken seriously. And when these videos came out, right, in 2017 until present day, these are being seen by pilots, those that we need to trust, caught on camera, doing these absolute crazy things. So the fact that we're able to talk about it today, that millions of people can watch it, that it's also public knowledge, and the Pentagon saying we don't know what they are, is really exciting.
Now, what did you, I want to go back to the UAP Task Force report. What did you make of, because like it or not, you're a member of the media now, you work for the Debrief. What did you make of the mass media? And I would say that a general, the word I'm going to use is poo-pooing, that they discounted the UAPTF report, and they didn't really pull any punches on that. Were you surprised at the reaction with the mass media?
No.
Why?
No, I wasn't. Well, we know with the mass media, they talk about things that are trending. They talk about hot topics. And if it was believed that this topic is now being back into some kind of ridicule, they're going to jump on it. They're going to jump on it regardless of what the people that are reporting it actually think. And I think currently, and again, this is merely an opinion, a lot of these media outlets, the mainstream ones, have lost a lot of their credibility. So whatever they say, yes, a good amount of people are going to listen to them, but there will also be a sufficient amount that have lost their trust in these media outlets on whatever they may talk about.
Well, the mass media, I was very surprised over the last 3 years to see this shift in covering the UFO UAP question, and it was constant, and it was really cool. I was very happy.
It was exciting.
And then they had the opportunity to analyze and really take a close look at the UAPTF report and what it could actually mean. And they just seemed to flip the switch back in the other direction. I was very surprised with that.
Of course, it's disappointing, but it's through these kinds of radio stations, podcasts, people having these conversations on the daily are the people that are making the difference, that are, I truly believe, more educated than those that you might hear, these reporters that you'll hear on the news that are merely reading a script. And I don't know if they really understand what they're saying. That's why they bring on people such as Lue Elizondo to help educate the people on things that they simply don't know about.
Do you think that we're going to see continuing coverage with Tucker and Fox as we move forward?
I hope with all media outlets, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm very curious It seemed like the door was cracked open there for about 3 years, and it was a lot of fun to ride that out.
But now we have countless podcasts on YouTube, on Spotify, on all of these outlets that are talking about it. So even though you might not have Fox News or CNN talking about it, there are hundreds of others that are. So all those people that they're reaching with one outlet, those 100 podcasts can reach the same amount of people.
I wanted to ask you about Neil deGrasse Tyson really quick before the break. His reaction to the UAPTF report, I thought, was very interesting, where he had his blinders on and he turned around with his 14 million followers on Twitter, says that it's your imagination. Right, discounting David Fravor and Alex Dietrich and the other testimony that has been out there, and any type of evidence that has been presented, and he chose to use his sphere of influence very quickly, and read the UAPTF report in his own way. What did you make of that?
It's not something I didn't really look at him when he talked about this report, but he's a skeptic. He's a scientist, and it's in his job interest to talk about it the way that he did.
Yeah, that's a good point. You are a communications major. You're going places.
And the biggest thing was that he was playing it safe. He's still a huge public figure. I believe, and I'm just guessing, that he's contracted, right? So he has to keep his image. I mean, he's on the show Cosmos, right? It's a very well viewed show. It's one that I like as well when it comes to just the basic understanding of space. But when he talks about aliens, it's I guess in his field still somewhat a taboo topic.
Yeah, well, he's trying to. In Cosmos, he spent episode after episode after episode about the search for alien life and what could be out there and intelligent life. And, he speaks about it and then turns around and says, but they can't be here. It's just, I don't know. Let's take our break right here, Christina. You just stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. When we come back, I'm gonna go into interdimensional. I'm gonna go with the classic UFO hypothesis. I'm gonna get to all of this with Cristina after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Cristina Gomez is here of the Debrief. Introducing her to the world. Here we go. And now, this is, I want to have a little bit of fun during this last segment. I have a list of stuff here that is probably a little bit out of your wheelhouse, but I just want to see what makes you tick. And the first thing that I want to discuss is how do you think they're getting here? How are these UFOs getting here? I've seen some strange things, Cristina, that I can't explain, but I've changed my opinion over the years about what is actually going on. So, what do you think? How are they getting here?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're not coming here the conventional way through a regular rocket, right? That would take way too long for these beings, even if they had an incredibly long lifespan. If we look at quantum physics and this kind of topic, it's possible that they could be using wormholes where one spot opens, another one opens, and they can quickly travel through it versus doing it the very conventional way of getting on a rocket, going at barely light speed to your next planet. That's what I think, but it is somewhat an uneducated guess.
I think whatever they're doing, it's easy. That's what I think. Whatever it is. If you look at things in a conventional sense here on planet Earth, right? And you want a pizza delivered, and you pick up the phone and you call and have a pizza delivered, right? Hot, tasty, right there to your door, 30 minutes or less. Think about that 200 years ago. That's magic, right?
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. But it's easy today. Getting in your car, getting on a plane, These are easy things for us to do when we take them for granted. It's the same thing for ET. Whatever however they are pulling it off, and I don't know. I really don't. Folding space, bending space, wormholes, black. I have no idea. I really don't. But whatever it is, it's just easy.
Well, maybe they're even using another dimension, like hyperspace.
Certainly, and that brings in another concept. This interdimensional part of it. Too many of these craft appear and disappear instantly in the sky. I've seen it happen, and I can't explain that. Is it a parallel world, another dimension, and they're slipping into it? I don't know, but I like your opinion on that. Whatever it is, it's not jumping into a starship and cruising for 10,000 light years.
Not worth it. That's a lot of snacks you got to pack.
Hopefully the food is good, by the way. Okay, so Bigfoot.
I think about interdimensionals.
Why?
Because that's what she said.
You can't use a previous episode of Fade to Black and turn it around on me. But what do you think? What are people seeing out there
for Bigfoot?
Yes.
That's a pretty interesting question because there's a lot of TV shows, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of eyewitness accounts of people having Bigfoot encounters. And it's believed that one strand could be from, I forgot what it's called, but something Pithecus. What's it called?
Close enough.
But what's it called, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm not an anthropologist.
Okay, well, hopefully people that are listening understand what I'm saying. And it's even written in mythology. And there's a lot of Native American stories talking about different types of Bigfoot. There's not just one type, but there are multiple that have a different kind of language, that looks somewhat different, that live on different parts of the world. So it's not just a phenomenon that's in the United States, but it's something that's global that almost every country has seen somewhere. And I think they're like hiding away. Maybe they could even be an ancient race.
I like the way you express yourself and you think before you speak. I find that it's very intriguing because you don't want to what's the way that I want to say this? You don't want to say anything incorrect. You think about what you say before you say it. That's pretty cool. But
it's being mindful.
Well, okay, it is. But then there's the UFO aspect with Bigfoot, where there's a lot of sightings, and then there's a Bigfoot sighting right after that or right before it, and the word coincidence comes into play here.
Yeah, there's a really weird aspect to that, and just to mention previously, it's called the Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus is one of the strands of what people believe Bigfoot to be. Just wanted to mention that. But when it comes to UFOs and Bigfoot, that's a really bizarre concept. And UFOs in general, a lot of UFO sightings, something paranormal is also attached in some way. And I don't have a big opinion on why this is happening. I just find it incredibly fascinating and I want to know the answer. But as to where to look, that's difficult to find. But I think the Bigfoot in general, maybe, it's merely just an opinion, but maybe they could even be a hybrid human species.
Could be. Now, what about, and Lue Elizondo sort of has alluded to this, so many others have too as well, that these sightings may not be us, but they may not be ET as well. I'm talking about our technology, but maybe it's us from the future. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's another race that is already here living under the oceans. But that would bring in the question of time travel. So do you think that that's a possibility, that time travel is in play here with, say, the Tic Tac? The Tic Tac may be us from the future.
Well, when we look at time travel, we have to understand there are quite a few paradoxes, such as the grandfather paradox. And let me just quickly describe what that is. If you go back in time to the time of your grandfather and you kill your grandfather, that means you were never born. So did you really kill your grandfather? And it's this vicious loop, which is a complete paradox. So it's believed by theoretical physicists say that if time travel is possible, you might be time traveling to a parallel dimension, a parallel universe that is very similar to ours, but it cannot be the exact same because you would run into the grandfather paradox.
Right. So, but
that would be a mess.
Yeah, that would be a mess. I have so many theories that come into play. I'm not going to get into my opinions on this. I've done shows upon shows about this. But if it is us from the future coming back to here, what would the intention be? Why would we be coming back and to be visible to us?
Well, if they are from us, if they are us from the future, that means they already know what the future looks like. Maybe they want to make it better, or they want to follow the timeline that is needed for their future to flourish. So a possible reason to why they want to be seen is maybe they want to be the movement for this topic to be talked about openly.
That's tasty. Now, what about, the Mandela effect? And I'll give you an example of the Mandela effect. I had one today. I did my On This Day in History today, which was 1996. And that was Dolly the sheep was cloned, the first cloned mammal. That was 1996. I thought that was in the 1970s. And I was very confused about that. And I went back and did some research, and I'm still a little bit confused. What do you make of the Mandela effect? And millions of people can't be crazy, right?
No, it can't be. And I have a similar experience where I truly believed for the longest time that there were 51 states instead of 50. And I swore to it. I remember learning it in class. And I'm thinking there's 50? No, that can't be correct. So I think this is becoming more mainstream. The fact that more people are talking about it is a good thing. But when it comes to the actual structure of the Mandela effect, I don't know too much about it. But there is something that I want to mention that I've never talked about on air, and I want you and your audience to know this. But because you probably have noticed, or if you watch it on rerun, you will notice that when I grew up, I was challenged with verbal dyslexia. And it's like dyslexia with reading, which I struggle with that too. But it's the same sense where my mind can't comprehend or try to follow where my mouth is going. So I grew up with a really bad stutter growing up. And
I have that problem every day on the show.
And when people noticed it, it would simply get worse, especially when I get nervous or too excited. And this is something that I've never really talked about openly, just because I find it kind of embarrassing and it shouldn't be a crutch for me. But because it's such a big show, I really wanted to let you kind of understand that my brain and my words don't always match. And sometimes I'll be classified as ignorant, or I have no idea what I'm saying. But my brain is there. It's ready to go with everything head on. And then the words come out and it's I can't comprehend that I said it incorrectly until after I watch it over and I said, oh, I can't believe I just said that 100% wrong. But it is something that I'm overcoming as time progresses, because I really don't have a choice as going on this path of working for the Debrief and having my own YouTube channel. But it can be so awful at times, and I'm going to assume that you've already seen it.
Yeah, I have, and I think it's totally cool. I think it's totally cool. But 51 states. You remember being taught that?
Yes, I do. And I truly believe it's because of the Mandela effect. I mean, I remember even singing a song for school when kids in elementary school used to sing songs, that it was 51 states.
I would love for you to name them. I mean, what's the 51st state? What?
I thought it was going to be Hawaii, but I do know all 50 states in alphabetical order.
51 states. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting.
But when I've looked it up online, I'm not the only one that's believed that there are 51 states. It's in that kind of flux between 49 and 51, and it's somewhat popular on the internet.
Now, I want to close before we run out of time. I've got two last points. You brought up Ancient Aliens, the TV show, in the first segment. Where do you stand with that, with lost history and ancient alien theory? Do you believe that we have been visited for millennia?
Well, talking about Ancient Aliens, the TV show, it's one of the very first shows that made the mainstream media that people talk about. And because it had some kind of evidence, not necessarily fact, because this is merely speculation of things that they could possibly be, right? What these art pieces are trying to convey. But the fact that it's even being talked about, that it's been going on, this show has been going on for years, and the fact that people are still interested in it is huge. This is a really, really big deal. So overall, I'm very pleased with the TV show. I like that they're talking about it, making it mainstream without having eyewitness accounts, but trying to comprehend history through art and through topography versus interviewing someone, having their eyewitness account, and you simply just have to believe them. Now, when it comes to ancient knowledge and Ancient Aliens, not the TV show, but just the history that we have, there are epochs of lost time that we are not taught about in school. The Earth has already had 5 extinctions. What happened previously to those extinctions? What evidence is there currently that happened during those times, other than the rocks that we see, the mountains that we see that give the timeline of age? Anything is possible. Do I believe that we've been visited by aliens in ancient times? I don't see why not.
The answer is absolutely. But let's stay with this for a second, because when we look at the stuff that you're taught in college, right? And you jump into world history and they start to give you the timelines. Well, they're going to teach you in college that everything started at 3000 BC in Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. That before that, it was Stone Age man running around in animal skins, right? That's it. There was no language, there was nothing, there was no knowledge, there was no technology. But now we know that that is clearly not the case. That two things. One, Giza, the Sphinx, and the pyramids may be tens of thousands of years older than what we're taught. But then we also have Göbekli Tepe, which is 7,000 years older than Giza, right? And Göbekli Tepe wasn't supposed to exist, right? So what do we do with that? Obviously, there was high technology.
You put it under the rug. You put it under the rug, Jimmy. You don't talk about it.
Yeah. Are you taking a world history class?
The only world history class that I took in college was Indian history. I wasn't required for my major to take another one.
Well, see, you should, because that gives you the opportunity, right, to raise your hand and go, well, what about Göbekli Tepe? Right? There was something way before Mesopotamia. There was something before ancient Sumer.
It's true, but I mean, the question is, do those people that are teaching those world history classes know about that?
Well, they do now. They do now.
I hope so.
They do now. And the other part to this, though, is if you go back to Göbekli Tepe, Cristina, somebody taught them how to carve those stones. Somebody taught them about astronomy. Somebody taught them about geometry. Somebody taught them how to do relief art, right? I mean, beautiful.
Exactly. And then look at even the religions or the ideologies of Buddhism and Hinduism and the ancient times and how they talk about this. I mean, this interests me so much. They talk about missing epochs. They talk about the Vimanas, right? These crafts that could fly. And you have blue-skinned gods that other cultures didn't really talk about blue-skinned. Does that make them a god? Are they aliens? And so if we even look at religion, I mean, forget the TV show Ancient Aliens. If we just look at ancient knowledge, bits and pieces, they fill the hole with things that they write from times before 3000 BC that I think is sometimes overlooked for people that don't really want to read these ancient books.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your cable. Okay, now one of the most polarizing subjects in all of ufology is one man. It's Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. So let's talk about Bob Lazar. Before we get to Bob, do you believe that Area 51 houses crashed flying saucers, retrievals, maybe even alien bodies? Do you think that happens out at Area 51?
Well, you said you can get me to talk to Travis Walton, but can you get me a pass into Area 51?
I certainly can. I have the power. I can do it.
Well, then I can only answer your question after I enter Area 51.
Well, now let's go to Bob Lazar.
Okay. Bob Lazar was the man that brought Area 51 into the public eye. He's stuck to his story saying that he has created these crafts, right? Trying to
backwards engineer.
Thank you. Backward engineer what they've already captured. Many people don't believe it. Regardless of if he's telling the truth or if he's lying, he's done a sufficient amount of work to bring this topic into the public eye. He brought the topic of Area 51. He talked about that the government is possibly capturing crafts and rearranging them to recreate them. So even if he's lying or not, he's opening the mind of curiosity to people to ask the big questions. What's really going on that we cannot see?
Okay. What about Element 115?
The best way to discredit someone is to tell everyone that they are crazy, that they are lying. And in some cases, that's a lot easier than killing someone, right? Because then they become a landmark and saying, Bob Lazar or whoever else was telling the absolute truth. Someone killed him to silence them, this, that, and the other, and you're going to have a revolt. But if you just let people write things and discredit him, or anyone, or absolutely anyone, not just Bob Lazar, but whoever else, just discrediting them, silencing them, can be more beneficial to keep a secret quiet than trying to kill them by making it look like a natural death. This is merely speculation. I don't know. I have not talked to Bob Lazar myself and asked him, so is what you're saying true or no? I can merely just take his story and then make my own conclusions based off what he says.
What a great conversation tonight, and I had an awesome time. But now I need to know this. How do you choose your subjects that you're going to cover? You have, you have two different shows that you do. The stuff for the debrief, is this coming from Micah and Tim, and they're handing you off a subject, or do you tell them what you're going to do?
Both. A lot of the UAP topics are the ones that I pass by over to them, but the recent ones that are like 2-minute segments, like express reports, are ones that I just kind of summarize one of their articles and let people know to go ahead and read the full report. But what I want to say about being on the debrief, being in the public eye, talking to countless people, talking to the camera like I'm doing right now, and having this verbal dyslexia, I know I am not the only one that has this. It's a lot more common than people think. And if yours is really bad or not, you can do this. And I'm talking to the audience that you can push forward regardless of how you speak, or if you have a stutter, or if you have some kind of social anxiety, because I know I'm not the only one that has it. You can beat it. All you have to do is just be mindful and put your mind to the topic that you're talking about, and you can reach the stars.
Now, how do you, I've only got a minute left. I should have asked this at the very beginning. It seems to me that you are always posting, you're always live, you're always streaming, you've always got new content on the debrief, and you're ignoring college and your studies and your personal life. How do you get all of this done?
Insomnia.
Yeah, right?
I don't sleep, and my college grades, I used to be an honors student, and now I am no longer an honors student, so they're slightly suffering, but I am passing because I find this topic so much more important, talking to others, inspiring others, even trying to motivate people to get interested in the topic. It's so much more important to me than merely getting a sheet of paper and saying I passed in the university.
Well, I look forward to seeing you at one of the conferences, and we can break some bread and hang out. And just keep doing what you're doing, and I know that the generations underneath me are in good hands moving forward. Thank you so much, Cristina. Enjoy the rest of your night. Now go study and eat some vanilla Haagen-Dazs, all right?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute honor.
You're the best. Thank you so much, Cristina, and be sure to tell Micah and Tim I said hello. Do that for me.
I will.
I'll talk to you.
I will.
Cristina Gomez, and of course it is the debrief, and all of Cristina's information is over at jimmychurchradio.com. I am going to take a quick break, and when I return, I'm going to take some of your phone calls. We're going to do that, and remember, this is my last night. I'm taking the week off after this. Thank you, Cristina. Have a great night. Thank you so much. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Here, and you are listening to my boy Jimmy Church on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter,
but listening to Jimmy Church will. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Man, my headphones are shorting out. I hate this when this happens. And I don't know what causes it. It's like some kind of short. I don't know what it is. All right, I'll ignore it. 747-228-2051. 747-228-2051. I want to thank Cristina Gomez for coming in tonight. And, launching it with what she is doing, I have said so many times over the years, and I really mean this, I go to conferences and I see a mix. Years ago, a mix of ages. Years ago, and I'm going back 20 years. I remember reading this article about a UFO conference, and I've spoken about this before, but I read this article, and it was, for me, it was an eye-opener, because this was a critic of the UFO conferences and saying things like, it's nothing but an older, gray-haired generation. There's no kids. There's nobody middle-aged. It's this certain class of individual that goes to these conferences, and that's what you're going to see when you go there. And I remember reading that. I hadn't gone to a conference yet. This was in the mid-'90s. And when I started to go to conferences, MUFON meetings and conferences and things, I didn't see that. And I was totally impressed with the younger generation, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old, 22. And here I am in my, 50s, coming up and asking me questions and a true knowledge base of ufology and research. And I have always felt really good about the future of our community. and I've expressed this many, many, many times. And what is going on today, I feel confident. I really do. And to hear, I've watched Christina's live streams. I've participated in some, and to let her know that I'm there, I'm watching, right? and her guest. But to hear their research and the way that they approach this and their knowledge base is very, very, very solid. It's impossible when I think about where I was in my early 20s in ufology, and you're starting to get into the research, there's so much of it to get done. So much. And all I have done, I've watched all the documentaries, I've read all the books, I've listened to all the interviews, but I've done this now for 30, 40 years. I'm 58. I've done this, almost 50 years. And my knowledge base is what it is after time. And you can't just jump into this subject and know everything. It's impossible. It's impossible. But the foundation for Cristina and all of her friends and co-hosts and that come on to her live stream is pretty solid. And I know that moving forward, we're in totally good hands. And I really want to thank her for coming on the show tonight. I know that she's listened to Fade to Black a lot, and to come in here, that's a really big deal, and absolutely great conversation tonight. She's got a bright future in front of her, and she's in good hands with Tim McMillan and Micah Hanks to help guide her on this journey. And she has had some really good guests. It's very impressive. So thank you, Cristina. Totally great conversation tonight. With that, I'm opening up the phone lines. Remember, I'm going to say it again. I am gone. After I sign off tonight, I will be on location for the rest of the week on a film shoot, and it's going to be great. But this is it. So this is the last opportunity to do some open lines tonight. 747-228-2051, and I will answer the calls in order. Let's see who is up first. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Turn me down in the background.
Okay, you're down. Hi, it's Deb from Sacramento. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Deb, how are you?
Really good and very encouraged. I hope Christina's still listening, because I just want to say, girl, you go. I would never, ever guess. You have such a wonderful diction and cadence when you speak, and intelligence. And I just want to encourage her to keep going. Thank you for sharing your personal, struggle about that. But I would have never known. And I have tuned in on a few of your shows, and you are always very prepared, and your material is very structured. And I like the way that you interview people. You never step on when they're speaking. And I think she's really dynamic and has a great future. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and I have the opportunity here that nobody else has. I am interacting with all of my guests, but with Cristina tonight, one-on-one. And I just found it very interesting. She thinks before she speaks. Part of it is how did she phrase it? Verbal dyslexia. Okay, so part of it is that, but I think the other part of it is she's cautious. She's cautious. She's a communications major.
She said she. Oh, I'm sorry. She said She said it was mindful speaking.
Yes,
she's mindful when she speaks.
She thinks about what she says before she says it.
Right.
And one of the things that, and I hope she's listening now, and this goes with any guest, myself as a host, when I am conducting an interview, my opinion does not matter. It's the opinion of my guest and their research. That's what matters. And it's a very fine tightrope that you have to walk there. And most podcasters and hosts and radio, this, that, they don't understand that. They think that their opinion is important. And it's not. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a rat's ass about what you think. They care about what your guests think. And so for Cristina to have it turned around on her tonight, one of the things that she's going to learn that in the future, if she does, get interviewed, it is your opinion that matters, right? not when you're doing the interview, your opinion doesn't matter. But when you are the guest on the show, yes, absolutely. It is you and your opinion and your thought process that matters. And so, she'll learn moving forward because one of the things that I enjoy is when I get interviewed by somebody else, I can't shut up. I can't shut up.
We know, Jimmy, but we love that about you.
But I can't shut up. I can't shut up because I never get a chance to talk, right? I don't. I'm just asking questions. And I love it, man. I love it when somebody says, so, man, what's your favorite food? I can talk about that for 30 straight minutes and not take a breath.
Well, Jimmy, I have 3 quick questions for you.
Okay.
Because I want to give someone else a chance. Okay, so the first question was when you were driving back from Laughlin, you did a live stream on Facebook, and you said you were being tailed and you were going to try to ditch them, Men in Black. What happened with that, and did you really think they were Men in Black? Talk about that.
Well, yeah, they followed me for about 100 miles. Out of Laughlin, and it was a black SUV. I think it was like a GMC. It was a new black Suburban, whatever. But it stayed behind me, and I passed cars and semis and whatever. I was probably doing 90 miles an hour, and this thing is right on my tail. And so when I started to do that live stream, I'm glad you noticed that. So when I started to do the live stream, I just happened to because I was constantly in my mirror watching this black SUV. So anyway, it just stayed right behind me. And yeah, I mentioned it. Well, while I was doing that live stream, it passed me and stayed in front of me. And I thought, okay, and now it's like slowing down, and it had been behind me for, I'm serious, about 100 miles. And now it's in front of me. And I was a little bit, so then I end the live stream. And I stayed behind him. I decided not to pass him. And I thought, okay, how long is this going to continue? And I decided that the first opportunity that I had, I was going to exit. I was just going to exit. But I'm out in the middle of the desert. You have to understand where this was occurring. There wasn't anything to pull off to. There wasn't anything, so I was waiting for a truck stop. I was waiting for a gas station. There are no towns. And I was waiting for that. And it was so close to me that if I would have turned on my turn signals, I thought that they would exit too as well. And I was really getting nervous about it. And so then I had the opportunity. There was a gas. There was something coming up. And they were, I'm telling you, they were just right in front of me. And every time I slowed down, they slowed down more. And then I just, whoop, and I did this quick exit. And they kept going straight. And I had this weird satisfaction with me. But so this is what I did. I didn't stop for gas. I didn't stop for food. I immediately got back on the freeway. And I didn't want them to turn around if I was pumping gas, right? And have them come back and again, I'm not sure. All I know is I felt like I was being tailed. 100%.
Yeah, you were genuinely nervous. Huh?
I felt like I was being tailed. I absolutely did. So I kind of waited for a minute, put some distance in between us, and then I got back on the freeway. And instead of doing 90, I did like 75. I never saw them again. Yeah, it was trippy. It was real. That was real.
Very good. Okay, question number 2. You're filming this week. Secret location. If I have a guess about who you're going to be filming with, at least one of the people. If I guess right, will you confirm it?
Maybe.
Come on now.
Maybe.
I think you're filming with Lue Elizondo.
Nope.
As one of the people.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Okay. Well, all right.
I hate to burst your bubble, but I am not filming with Lue. And if Lou's listening,
he calls you so much on the air that
if Lou's listening right now, he's like, "Good job, Church. That was believable. That was good."
Yeah, I don't believe you, but I'll go along with it. I'm not, as you like to say, I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm not. Nope, not doing it.
Okay.
But whatever, happy taping. And then my third question real quick is, you posted a little CGI thing when you were at the conference where you were at the booth and the aliens beamed down and they beamed you back up, which was great. And you said that you were going to get regression and talk about your experience there with them. So spill it.
That was done. I'm not gonna give his last name because he wants to run under the radar. But a friend of mine, his name is Ian, and he has he's an OG Fadernaut, been with the show from the beginning, and things. But he doesn't post. He's not on social media, and he does his own thing. He's a professional. Okay, so. But anyway, Ian, I'm trying to think. It was a couple of Contact in the Deserts ago, maybe 4. And he came up and introduced himself, and we hung out. And so anyway, he shows up in Laughlin. And it was really funny. I was standing there, I think I was standing there with Billy around the lobby. Anyway, he comes up, taps me on the shoulder, and it was when Billy was signing his books. That's when it happened. Anyway, I hope Ian is listening right now and laughing. Taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around and went, "Dude, no way!" Because we've stayed in touch via email and text and things, and so we've stayed in touch. But I haven't seen him in a while. Anyway. He just shows up in Laughlin, and he was only there for one night. And but he walks in to the booth, and I was standing there, and that's when he did that. He goes, "Okay, Jimmy, look up." And that's what I did. And he was videotaping. And he goes, "Okay, now walk out here. I got to shoot your legs." So I step out, and he shot my legs, and he goes, "Okay, man, I'm gonna show you something in a few minutes." And he disappears, and he came back with that video, and he just did it like that. Pretty cool. I think he did it on his cell phone. I don't know. Maybe he did it on his computer. I don't know, but
it was very cool. But you said that you were going to have regression. Do you think regression? I know that you don't want to partake in it, but I will say this. That may be your stance at this point, but you haven't been to Egypt yet.
Check it out. Check it out. Ian just texted me. He says, "Yep, I'm listening. I love you, bro." Ian, you're too much. And, Ian, text me now since you're listening. Did you do that on your computer, or did you do the video on your cell phone? And, he says, "Yep, on my phone." He is really listening. In real time. Wow. So, yeah, he did that on his phone. But really cool. Really cool. Now, back to regression. I'm just going to say this, Ian, you are one of the coolest dudes ever. Don't change.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian, for doing that for all of us. We Fadernauts love that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I couldn't believe it. Plus, he did the Van Halen, right? I mean, how cool is that? So, but...
Regression.
Yeah, regression. I really trust and admire Yvonne Smith. There's no question about it. Barbara Lamb, Daryl Sims, Kathleen Martin. There are so many out there that are really good at what they do, and they're very professional. That being said, For me personally, I don't have an interest in trying to figure out something. Right? I'm not there. I'm not there. It's not like, I was driving a car and I had 4 hours of missing time after I saw an object in the sky. All right. Now, if I went through that, if I went through something like what Travis Walton went through or others, Betty and Barney Hill, Betty Andreessen, that have had these, Whitley Strieber, for instance, that there is a need to know. But for me, with my experiences, I don't have that need to know. Whatever happened, and I'm comfortable with it. And
my point is, and we've had this conversation before, so what I'm proposing is you're saying that now, but you haven't been to Egypt yet. And what if something happens in Egypt where, I'm just saying never say never.
Ian says he's listening while drinking a beer. That's how cool Ian is.
What kind of beer? What brand?
Okay. Deb wants to know what kind of beer, Ian. Let's see if that pops up. Yeah, and I'm very interested on the geography of Egypt. And what I mean by that is there... I have a direct connection to Egypt. I think about it all the time. I'm not sure if it's a past life. I don't know what the interest is, but I can't shake it and I can't get rid of it. And I've had it since I was a little kid. End of story. So is there going to be an experience there like I've had in different locations around the United States? Where I'm going to walk into an area, I'm going to walk into a temple, and he says, fresh squeezed IPA. Oh, fresh squeezed IPA. I guess that's an IPA. It's called fresh squeezed. Okay, there you go. And so, is there now a past life regression that you're dealing with, as opposed to a missing time regression? Now that's a different. It's a different situation altogether. All right. Okay. So, is there a possibility? Maybe.
See, that's what I was thinking, because when you said never, and then I tweeted one night and I said, and by the way, Jimmy, I don't think you're seeing my tweets in the sandbox. I'm just saying. So give me a break here. If I'm in jail, give me a break. Let me out. Okay. But I tweeted one time and I said, you say you don't want regression, but you haven't been to Egypt yet. And you've always been so connected to Egypt. So it's like, how can you say for the future? So I'm glad that you're at least considering it. And it's something that you might be open to eventually.
Yeah, it would depend
once you open that door.
yeah, that's true too as well. Alba Weinman and going down that road would be interesting. But I have to go through Egypt first, and see. There, I mean, I've had such strange experiences that were. Well, first off, personal, but second, I'm convinced it's the geography, it's the location of the areas that I've been in, where strange things have happened. Will that happen in Egypt? I don't know. I don't know.
I think your destiny is in Egypt in finding out your connection to it. I think your destiny is there. And I'm glad that you're open-minded about it. And
what's weird?
With an open heart and mind.
I'll tell you what's weird about me with Egypt. The pyramids are cool. Don't feel it. The Great Sphinx is cool. Don't feel it. The Red Pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, all cool. Don't feel it. It's not Saqqara. And it's not the Giza Plateau. I don't feel it. It's not Luxor. I don't feel it. It's not Dendera. I don't feel it. It's bizarre. What I feel the strange attraction to is a place that most people don't even know about, and that's Edfu. So I don't know what's going to happen when it's not Aswan. I can't explain these things. But it's Ed Fu that I feel this strange vibe towards. Of all the places. But yes, I've been told that we are going to Ed Fu, and I look forward to it. Now, will something crazy happen there? I don't know. I would like to go to Memphis. There are some other outlying. I think we're gonna go to Memphis. There are some outlying places that I would definitely like to get to, but Ed Fu for me is top of the list. Top of the list. See, you don't even know what Ed Fu is, do you?
I've heard of Ed Fu, yes. I've heard of it. I'm not real familiar with the position of where it's at in Egypt and the geography of it, but I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, it's way...
Can you talk about it a little bit? Why is it famous? Why is that particular place of interest to you?
It's a temple complex way south down the Nile, up the Nile, I should say, south of Cairo, probably a couple of 100 miles, and it's on the west side of the Nile River, and you can look it up. It's EDFU, Edfu, but and it's big, and it's probably not quite as big as Luxor, but probably almost as elegant. But it has the King's List and the Dynastic List on the wall. And one of the things about Edfu there is that is the reference to Atlantis and the Great Flood that Graham Hancock talks about. So that's the only existence in all of Egypt where this story is. So that's in Edfu.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep. Well, I got to run.
Well, I know your future lies in Egypt, Jimmy. There you go.
I'm
trying to talk my friend into going. He's traveled just about everywhere, but he hasn't been to Egypt. So I'm trying to talk him into going because I will not travel alone. I'd like to do it. So that's something I'm working on. But
I think we'll have everything up for everybody by the end of next week. So I just got all the details sent to me, the dates and everything, but it is March 2022, and we're calling it the Emerald Tablets Tour. And yes, it's myself, Johnny Enoch, and Billy Carson.
And Billy, yeah.
Yep.
Hey, well, Jimmy, have a great time filming this week, and tell Lou I said hello.
I'll talk to you. Thank you so much, Deb. Have a great night.
Fade to black.
Fade to black. And have a great week while I am gone. I want to thank Cristina Gomez tonight. What a great conversation. Bright young mind. That was just too cool for me. That was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Cristina. All of Cristina's information is over at jimmychurchradio.com. That's it. I'm gone for the week. I'm signing off now, and I will be back a week from today, next Monday, for another week of Fade to Black. Until then, Fade to Black's executive producers Rita Kamarian. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody in a week. Until then, be safe. It's time to fade to black.